episode of Perth Podcasts, Road to Worlds 2024, Lithuania. I'm Bobby Tan, and joining us today as our guest speaker, we have Meghan Scanlon from the US. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. So, Meg I don't think she needs any introduction, right? Like, she's our 2022 World Champion, she's our 4-time national champion, and she's been working with Kelly from Perth Promotion since 2021. So, Meg, tell us about your competitive history even before powerlifting, because I guess that's quite an interesting topic.
Okay, so before I was powerlifting, I was running marathons and doing Ironmans in my early and mid 20s. So when I started powerlifting, I was in my late 20s and I was still running marathons, but not doing Ironmans anymore for the first couple of years. And I think I did my first powerlifting meet. I was like 28, maybe 27, 28. So yeah.
So it wasn't your first sport that you were sort of competitive in?
No, I grew up doing different sports. So when I was younger, I did gymnastics and then played soccer through college. So the transition to running was mostly just because I was looking for something to be competitive in and active in after graduating from college.
And you found powerlifting after running for like half a decade?
Luckily, I found powerlifting. Yes, luckily I found powerlifting.
Otherwise, you'd still be running all right.
I'd still be a mediocre runner, especially since I was running distance. Like, none of it makes sense looking at my body type. But yes, I found powerlifting probably, like about 5 years or so after I started running. Yeah. And it was really a great match for me. It was something I could, even after my first meet, like I knew I could probably be pretty competitive at it. And not just like against myself, you know what I mean? But in terms of on a local scale and a national scale.
Yeah. And because you have so much experience in competing on different mediums, right? Would you say that you've taken whatever that you've learned as a competitive athlete, even for like Ironmans, marathons and stuff like that, into powerlifting? And if so, how?
Definitely. I think in different ways. I mean, in terms of training, I've always like trained very meticulously. Even when I was younger, and was either doing gymnastics or playing soccer, I was always training like on my own outside of practice. Some might say it's a little obsessive. Others say maybe it's driven or passionate. I don't know, but it's something I definitely carried over into running and also into powerlifting, which I think is very helpful. And then competing, just dealing with the whole nerves, right, of competing in general. I think doing a sport that was an individual sport like gymnastics is very helpful because it's different being on the platform alone than it is in playing a team sport. So I think that's very helpful as well. So I do think that I had a lot of experience in terms of an athlete and training, starting powerlifting. It was just the sport itself was new.
Right. That's great. And in fast forward to your competitive career in powerlifting, you've been to Worlds 3 times, and this year to Lithuania will be your 4th. And your first Worlds was in Helsingborg in Sweden, 2019, right?
Yeah.
How did you do?
I mean, I did pretty well. For me specifically on that day, it was the best I've ever done at 57. And I came in second. I lost to Maria Hiti on like an epic pull. She pulled a ridiculous pull, but the whole day was pretty cool. Like I walked away feeling very satisfied just because I did the best I could. Like there was nothing else I could have done. And like we traded records back and forth the whole entire meet. So as an athlete too, especially now, like reflecting, like what a cool freaking experience. Where we literally traded, I think it was on my first pull, we started breaking the total world record. Just back and forth the whole time. I just unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of the coin.
It was just like a Sheffield kind of thing.
Yeah, like it was really, really cool. And it was a great experience. Obviously, I wanted to win, like obviously, as any athlete does, especially
who doesn't want to win worlds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I lost by like 1.5 kilos. But it was a great
Yeah.
experience. And it was also like, it was a great experience. And it was also something that, looking back and reflecting, like, it was very cool to be a part of. And like, for my first Worlds, like, I want to change it.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that with us. And fast forward to 2020 and 2021, we didn't go to Worlds, right?
No, Shirley didn't.
Got 2 kids instead.
Yeah. Yep. So I competed in 2020, which I'm sure most people didn't, at the Arnold. It was one of the last meets before the COVID lockdowns in the US. No one was allowed at the Arnold except the athletes. It was really weird. It was very strange, eerie type of feeling, especially because you didn't know what was coming for the next year. No audience. Very strange. The whole convention center, there was no people, which if you've ever been to the Arnold, it's insane. Wall-to-wall people at the expo, etc. I competed, everything locked down, I think 2 weeks later. And then I think it was 2 weeks after that, I found out that I was pregnant. So I spent COVID growing and having children and not lifting, relatively speaking, of course.
And yeah, would you say that like being a mom gives you strength? Like how people say like dad strength's the thing, is mom strength the thing as well?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I am so much stronger objectively, right? Like objectively, I am so much stronger.
The results
now.
Speak for themselves.
Yeah, so we don't even need to speak in figurative sense. But I think it's a mindset too. Like, I know what my priorities are. I know how much time I have. And like, less of my identity is tied up in lifting, which for me has been such a huge thing in terms of excelling and just like too hard all the time, and being a better athlete.
Yeah. And you did say you want to win Worlds in 2019, right?
Yes.
And
of course.
Fast forward to 2022, what happened?
So in 2022, I went to Worlds. It was something I didn't think would happen. After having children, I didn't really think I was going to powerlift. Found my way back into it, found my way onto the world stage in South Africa, and I ended up winning. Yeah, which wasn't something I expected either. But it happened, and it was a crazy experience.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember Lia Bavois didn't make weight, and I guess it opened up the doors for like anyone to take the win.
Yeah, the door opened in such a huge way.
And yeah. And it was so nerve-wracking because like top 3, all of you guys had the same total, and you end up winning on body weight.
Yeah.
And it's not
the only time I was happy to be small.
Like, I believe like they were trying to to out-total you by 0.5, and it just didn't happen. Yeah.
No. Yes, I didn't either. I also didn't have a great day. I think I went 5 for 9. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a little bit rough. And it's pretty much all my fault. I jumped a lot of bench commands. I was just like, mentally, it was as if I hadn't competed at this stage in a long time. And like, it showed in my attempts that I made, but also like why I missed them. Yes, there were some strength issues, but I was still having some trouble at top end, just like postpartum and like knowing where it was. So that is what it is. It was a little bit less predictable then, but also like I jumped commands twice, and that's like, a newbie move. I was a little rusty. Yeah, rookie mistake. I was a little rusty. So that was the only thing I was really upset about as the meet was over, because I thought I lost it because I couldn't listen to a command. Like, I thought I did not win Worlds because I jumped bench commands. Like, how shitty would that be? Luckily, I did end up winning, so I didn't have to dive into that deep hole of darkness that I would have been diving into. But it did teach me a lesson, and I haven't jumped a command since.
That's good. That's good. And that was also your first Worlds as a 63, right?
Yes,
So
it
how's
was.
it moving up?
It was great. It was fantastic. When I first competed at 57, it wasn't that bad of a cut, but as I kept lifting, it got pretty tough. Kind of culminating at Worlds in 2019, like I had a really rough water cut, and it was kind of, to me, what I needed to say I'm going to go 63, because my training for Worlds in 2019, I was very strong. And then I just felt pretty terrible on meet day. And for me, that's not what I wanted competing to feel like. So going to 63 was a great move for me. And transitioning to 63 in 2022 was it was a really cool experience, because I PR'd my total at 63 the first time on the platform back, working with Kelly. And then at Worlds in 2022 was the first time I broke 500, which was really cool. So that was kind of like a lifetime goal for me, which I know sounds
a
silly now, but
milestone, right?
yeah, like a great milestone.
And now what? It's 600.
Yeah, I mean, come on, we gotta hit 6 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but those things for me just like mentally built my confidence so much, because I still wasn't quite back to where I was before, like mentally as an athlete after having kids.
So after winning Worlds, would you say that your confidence is back? Do you feel like, yes, I feel like I'm Meghan Scanlon again?
I felt mentally, yes. I felt like I proved to myself that like I deserved to be there and that I could do it again. Physically, I feel like it still took a little while after that to where I was very confident in my body, and also very confident in just loading more weight on my body, especially for squatting. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was evident, right? Like in the Worlds after that in Malta, which we'll move towards now, you added 15 kilos since then.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. I went from, like looking at my Worlds totals, I went from 505 to 532.5, which was like a huge jump in 1 year. And that was also taking a 20 kilo hit on my bench, I think. I went from 142 to 125 or 127. So maybe 17 and a half kilos.
Yeah.
So taking a huge hit, but still putting on a ton of kilos to my total,
and, Yeah. And that was like the year where bench, that was a thing.
I didn't bomb out. That was my number one fear. I was like, if I bomb, I bomb. Here we go.
Right. On the world stage.
Yeah, exactly.
And you unfortunately didn't take the dub this time. It was Carola who took the win. And post Worlds, how did that sort of fuel your goals, I guess? Like, did it light a fire in you?
So I think going into 2022, I wasn't expecting myself to win. Like I had a different mindset.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting myself to win going into 2021. But when Leah missed weight, my mindset obviously switched to like, oh, I could win. In 2022, I wasn't expecting myself to win either. But I was expecting, I wasn't even projected to come in second based off of totals. I was expecting myself to come into to play second and to PR my total pretty handedly, like have a good day for myself. And I did that. So it was really cool. I had a great day. I went 8 for 9, I think, but
compared to
it was an overturn. Right? So I'm going to call it a 9 for 9 day. I didn't jump any commands. One of my benches got overturned by the jury. So it is what it is. But it was a great day. Like I had a great day and I had so much fun on the stage and I just felt like I should be there. And I also felt like there's so much more, like I left feeling like there's so much more, which is an important feeling. I feel like as a lifter, I did leave South Africa feeling that way. And I left Malta feeling that way too. So it was just figuring out how to find that so much more, find those kilos, if you will.
And Kelly's doing a good job at that, right?
That's right. She's the little miner. Yeah. She's got to find the kilos. Too bad she
I would think you're
she
the one,
wasn't
and you're the one
searching.
doing the work.
Yeah, maybe. I was like, if she was really searching for gold, though, she'd be like doing really well right now. She's collected a lot of kilos for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But honestly, like, again, like, I'm expecting to go to Worlds this year, and PR, like, looking again, PR my total in general pretty well, but also like looking Worlds to Worlds, like, add a lot of totals to my Worlds, a lot of kilos to my Worlds total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, fast forward post Malta, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nationals, and you're up against Celine the Machine. And how was your prep and your mindset going into that meet? Now that you had direct competition at a national level.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to finally have direct competition on a national level. Again, you know, it's been a really, really long time. At least that's what I feel like. It's been a long time. But going in, I think that knowing there was something that was chasing me drove me a lot during training. And I really had one of my best training cycles ever, probably, like, in my whole life. So I was pretty confident going in, and also knowing that if I showed up and did what I needed to do, I would win, which is a different place for me, both in training and entering a meet. Like, I've always been the chaser. I've always been chasing my whole entire powerlifting career, chasing either, you know, a person or a certain number or whatever. And for the first time, I entered a training cycle and a meet knowing, hey, like, I am the one that's setting the standard right now, and being chased. Yeah. So, like, it's on me to show up, and it's on me to win, you know? So it was a really cool, and I liked it.
Because it added more pressure to you, right? Knowing that everyone has their eyes on you, like, she's Meghan Scanlon and she's the one to watch. And did that add a lot of pressure to you? And could you use that pressure to your advantage?
I think pressure, maybe. Yeah. Like, I guess for sure, you know, and I'm sure there's some people that wanted me to fail, right? Like, that's part of it. Let's be honest. Like, some people wanted me to fail, but in a way that kind of just drives me, because I know that I'm in control of what I can do. And in this type of situation, as long as I did what I was capable of, I would be okay. You know, sure, miracles can happen. And if a miracle happen and I still do what I need to do, and she added 30 kilos to her total in 3 months, like, that's fantastic. Like, I can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? Like, good on her. That's fantastic. But if I show up and do what I'm capable of, like, I'm going to be okay. And, like, I'm not going to trip. Like, I'm going to show up and do what I can do. I'm very confident in that. So I like that. And I know some people don't like that. And I also love proving people that they're wrong, and that I am capable regardless of what they think. So I kind of enjoyed being in the position that I was, and it was something that led me to have very good training, very dialed in training, because the only person I really had to worry about was myself.
Right. And being dependent on you to show up just shows that how much you believe in yourself, actually.
Yeah. It's true.
Not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah. And that sort of belief led to you being the best female in the US. Not just the national champion. And you added a whopping I guess more than 10 kg. Since Worlds, we don't talk about.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. I'm like, you're gonna talk about my half kilo? All right, let's talk about the half kilo.
And so what was your reflections and main takeaways from nationals in the US?
Sure. So I know I mentioned I had the best prep ever, and then I was very confident, like super confident, going in. Had my final heavy day for my for my peaking block. And then, you know, about 16 hours later or so, I remember texting Kelly like from my bathroom floor, throwing up and being like, oh my God, it's over. I'm dying. So I got the stomach bug about 5 days out from the meet. And it was pretty terrible, to be just completely honest. Mentally and physically, it was pretty terrible. And not that I'm recommending this to anybody, but it's just how my brain works. And I think this is a reason why Kelly and I are a great match as an athlete and coach, because I think her brain works kind of similar. But I didn't miss a training day. But when I say like the first time I got under the barbell after throwing up, it was terrible. Like everything hurt. Every single weight felt heavy from the barbell. And my confidence was just in the shitter, so to speak, for loading up something that I had to load in 5 days. But I just said like, okay, like it's just the stomach bug. Every day you're going to feel better, right? I haven't had the stomach bug since probably high school. So I was like, all right, I don't really know what the stomach bug's like, but I can guarantee you like it's usually a 24-hour thing, right? Like we're going to start to feel better. And I just really, really relied on controlling what I could control, which obviously a lot of things were outside of my control at that point, but like hydrating, resting, getting in the calories that I could, still getting under the barbell, even though I didn't want to, taking care of the variables that I could, and just hoping that the time I got to game day, like I would have enough. I didn't care if I had my best day. I just wanted to have enough. Because for me, the number one goal of nationals is to get to worlds.
Yeah.
So
and
I don't even remember what the question was.
But your main takeaway.
My gosh, I didn't even answer it. Sorry, I wanted to get context because my main takeaway would make zero sense if I didn't give context after I just said I had my greatest training cycle ever.
I know what a stomach bug feels like.
Holy shit. Oh my God. I know what the stomach bug feels like. And if you want to give it to me, if you want to give me food poisoning, go for it. I can take it and still have a good day. Wow. Okay. So my main takeaway was two things. Personally, it's that like just trusting in the work that I've done in myself and knowing that regardless of what I feel like, I'm still very strong. And like I can lean into that and be okay with trusting that it's not a mistake, like the numbers that I'm throwing on the bar. And secondarily, like also like in my team, so to speak. So like Kelly and Brian did like such a great job of handling me on that day. I've never had a situation where like I felt so underconfident in like the numbers on the bar, even though I should feel confident based on my training. And like the numbers that were chosen were what I needed and perfect for that day in a situation where who really knows what top end is, you know what I mean? Coming in like, like I was carrying so much fatigue where like I shouldn't be because of a taper, right? Like usually a taper takes that away, but instead I hit my heaviest training and then got sick. So like there was no fatigue dropping. And also I was very light, which is not great for me. So it also just gave me a lot of confidence in that no matter the situation, they can handle me and like bring out the best in me on the day that and what I need to do, which is cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
And speaking of Brian, your husband, your partner.
Speaking of Brian, he's going to love getting a shout out.
Brian, he handles you at every single meet so far you've been to?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, except for my first meet, I think, because I didn't know I could have a handler. So I was back there by myself. But other than that.
So, did he handle you when you flew over to Australia as well?
No. He stayed home. Okay, that's fair. He was not in Australia.
That's another aspect.
Yeah.
So, other than those two meets, Brian has handled you at every single one, every nationals, every worlds. And how would you say his game day coaching for you has evolved from each meet?
Oh, I mean, and this isn't just him, but even I also like when we first started, like we didn't know the rules of powerlifting. Um,
Yeah,
Even on the local level, never mind when you get to the national level and you're doing, you know, like the attempt papers and the change slips and records
yeah,
and things like that. Like it's all, you know, evolves a bit each level you go to. So it's been like a learning experience for me as a competitor and for him as a handler. But it's kind of cool because it's basically like we've grown together and now he's very confident, like similar to me. Like I'm very confident when I get on the platform now and what I'm doing. Like he's very
yeah.
confident on meet day and knowing what
In
he's
handling
doing.
you.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also like knowing how I compete, which is a great thing because when I am in situations where there are other people around too handling me, he does a really great job of speaking up for me, like on meet day, because he knows what I like when I compete
what
and
you
kind
want.
of, yeah, and
Yeah,
like my preferences. So I don't have to even worry about that, which is such a great thing. And like I can just be an athlete, you know, and not have to
yeah,
advocate for myself.
yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And we'll be looking forward to see him handle you at Lithuania again.
Yes. He will be there.
That's great. Yeah.
Hmm.
So back to Worlds, right? You've been to Worlds many times, like I brought it up before. This is your fourth Worlds. And
Hmm.
going back each time, does it feel different? And if yes, how?
Um, I would say definitely 2019, my goal was to win worlds. I came way short, but I also thought like 2019, I thought it would be my only worlds. Not from the standpoint of I didn't think I could get back to worlds, but I thought I would have kids and not power lift and not on that type of level. Um, so my mindset going in was very different. I put a lot of pressure on myself for that one meet and that one experience. In
Yeah.
2022, it was kind of like almost like a cathartic experience of getting back to a place I never thought I would. And also like hanging, like deserving to be there and hanging with the best in the world. So that was
Yeah.
a great experience that I didn't necessarily put any pressure on myself at all for that meet. I just wanted to have the experience, you know, like allow myself to have that experience. Um, and I didn't go into 2022 Worlds thinking I was going to win. I know that we already discussed that. Same thing with
Yeah.
2023. Like I was like, oh, like we're heating up, you know, like
Yeah.
from 2022 to 2023, I was like, oh, I'm back and I'm heating up. Like I'm here to stay, you know, like I should be
Yeah.
here. I'm
Like
still getting better.
every year, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not
Hmm.
just a one-time thing ever since 2019. You're gonna be here
Exactly.
every year. And yeah, we all are gonna know who Meghan Scanlon is.
Yeah. So again, like
Yeah.
I showed up not expecting to win, but I showed up expecting to come in second, and I showed up expecting to PR my total and have a good day. Um,
And you did.
and I did, you know. So it was like it went exactly like I hoped, you know, right, or exactly like I planned. It would have gone. In 2024, I almost said 2023, like going into Lithuania. Um,
Yeah.
my mindset is very similar to last year, except I want to win. That's the only difference. Like I'm planning to go to Lithuania to show up, to do what I can do, PR my total, have a great day. But now I'm capable of winning. Like that is a very realistic goal for me. So that's
Yeah.
the goal, you know, and that's really the only difference. Like my mindset's the same. It's just I want the outcome to be a little different.
That's great. Like
Yeah.
we all know your expectations and goals for us now. And it's
Yeah.
good that you want to win. Yeah, like for sure. Like knowing that it's there for you, you just need to take it on the day itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, now that we've gotten like your expectations out of the way, have you started preparing for Worlds in terms of like the logistics and stuff, like your accommodations and your flights?
Yeah, so I've already planned my travel out there. I haven't done the accommodations yet, but have planned the travel out there. Um, I feel like we have it down to a pretty good, I don't know if you want to call it science or whatever, of when I travel. Because I feel pretty practiced between Sweden, South Africa, Australia. Where did I go
Yeah,
last year?
yeah,
Malta. and now
Malta.
Lithuania. Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
I've done really long travel, like Australia and South Africa was very long. Malta and Lithuania is a little bit easier. But I just feel very practiced and
Yeah.
comfortable with it. So yeah, I'll fly out there like 4 days before or so, and have my last training days there before the
Yeah.
meet.
And how long are you staying after the meet?
Not that long. That's
Not
the
that long.
saddest
I
part.
guess
No.
not everyone stays very long after
I
the meet.
know. I know. I know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say someday my goal is to make it to a banquet, but for me, like right now,
Not
it's
willing,
just
right? One thing
oh
I
no,
want to
no,
make it to the
yeah,
banquet.
yeah, yeah. I want to stay long enough to make it to a banquet. No, of course, winning, yeah, that's my number one. But
Yeah.
number two is to make it to the banquet. Honestly, it's just like the travel of getting there before and then just like getting back for my kids. That's the main
Right.
reason why. So we'll fly
Fair
out
enough.
not the day after, but the day after that. So we're just there like a couple
Right.
days longer, then I compete because it will be like a whole week that I'm
And
there.
how will be the kids? How will the kids do? Like if they're not flying with you?
Yeah, so we're pretty lucky. My parents and Brian's parents watch them wherever we travel, pretty much.
Okay, that's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
so
That's
it's
great.
good. Yeah, it's good. But my goal is actually to have them not worlds, but have them come to a meet I do after worlds.
Right.
The
And
next, I don't want to say the next
speaking
meet
of
because the
that,
next meet is worlds, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of meets afterwards, before we end things, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans you have for the future? Like, there's obviously Sheffield in
Mm-hmm.
Great Britain, and there's also World Games in China the year
Mm-hmm.
after. So, yeah, do you have anything that like correlates and sort of any work that you've done that makes you want to work towards one of those meets?
Yeah, I think, I mean, similar to how I said that my goal is to win worlds, and similar to the whole nationals thing, like I feel like if I do my job in training and I do my job and I show up, like that is a very realistic goal that I should be able to accomplish. And with that, the goal is to be able to like automatically qualify to go to Sheffield, in the World's Games.
Yeah.
For me at this point, those are two things that I haven't checked off, like for me, like those are
Yeah.
things I got to do as a powerlifter. Like I've been to worlds, I've won worlds, I've broken world records, and I got to check off Sheffield and World Games
Yeah.
and like just complete, like have the
Yeah.
whatever, like I
The
don't want to say the
treble.
complete. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is for sure the ultimate goal. And similar to how I said, like my goal is to win nationals and go to worlds. I would like to win worlds and go to
And wants
Sheffield
to
and
go to
World
Sheffield.
Games. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And since we were talking about like your kids, right? Will they be tagging along? Since if you do go to Sheffield, will they be?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Oh yeah,
That's
for
great.
sure. Yes, absolutely.
Is this their first time flying out?
Yeah, they've never even been on an airplane.
Right. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So it would be a great
Yeah.
experience. But yeah, we got work to do before that, but that's the goal,
Yep, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to that, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that concludes our episode of Per Podcast Athlete Things Road to Worlds 2024 Lithuania. Before I end things off, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers?
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I don't have anything today. No, I don't think so. Thank you though.
Okay. All good. All good. Yeah. Thank you for hopping on.
Of course.
And it was a pleasure having you on here.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was glad to be here.
All right. So take care and I'll see you guys in the next episode.